Well, welcome back. Today we've got a quick video for this week on lids. And this came up in the studio uh, when we noticed that folks were a little bit shy about throwing the upside right lid. So we made a quick video, super simple to do. And I hope you enjoy it. It's not invented by us. There's been a number of folks who over the years who have shown this. But it's such a simple technique, we thought, let's show it. So hang on and stay tuned for the video. All right, welcome everybody. We are here today for, what are we here for? Oh, I know what. To make an upside right lid. So, one thing about an upside right lid is it's WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. Second thing about an upside right lid is it takes far less clay. And third thing about an upside right lid is you get to trim it to the size you want and can actually make it higher. I don't want to say that it's easier to make it higher. So simple thing is to center it low and at least out to as far as you want to make the lid. So I want a 7-inch lid. I've got 1 whole pound of clay, and I'm going to center this out to, say, 7.5. And I'll be happy, a little more, and I'm done. So, good enough. So upside right lids, we're going to open all the way to the bat in the middle, or as middle as we can be. And I'm not worried about this, that this lid is super centered, because eventually I can trim it perfectly round. So we're going to open all the way to the bat, clean down to the bat. And I'm going to drop the speed of this a little bit. This wheel has a habit of speeding up on its own. And we're going to undercut. I'm going to take my finger all the way down the bat. We're going to undercut and lift up this clay off the bat ever so slightly. So it no longer will be attached to the bat. And this is super, super soft clay. So I have to be careful, but I've lifted it up right to here. I'm going to take it off the bat all the way to almost the end here. So I'm going to take it all the way off until I get to about a 1/4 inch away. And that's going to be the only thing holding it to the bat. So, I don't know, I guess you could have timed me. I'm going to keep my right hand on top so I can control this, because what I don't want to do is pull this up rapidly and stretch the lid. So I want to keep a little bit of pressure on top and pull this clay away from the bat as uniformly as I can. I'm not going to put much water on the inside, mainly on my finger, because later on, as you can see, I'm out to here. I'm almost out to my point already. I'm about half done making my lid. Later on, all right, so I'm really close. So later on, there's hardly any water in there, which is excellent. That's what I want, is not a lot of water in there. Now, what I want to do is close this form. And you can see I didn't do the greatest job of pulling this up evenly. It wobbles a little bit. But that's okay. It's so soft. It's hard to, it's really hard to keep even pressure on this clay. And if you can tell, I really can make this lid as tall as I want. Because now, when I close it, I'm going to make a knob. And the knob's actually going to add a lot of structure to this lid. It's actually going to make it stronger, so it's less likely to
slump in the kiln. But let's keep going. Now, however you close forms, I like to collar them in, then bring them up, thin them out. And as I thin them out, I can make them smaller, which then makes them thicker again. So however you do that, it's fine. At some point, my big fat finger is going to be too big for it. Um, but this is probably the last go for my finger. And if I really wanted to, I could put a stick in there and do something. Now, if this bothers you, it's hard to pull this up absolutely even, so you may have to trim it. But no worries. So I'm going to do my best to close this form. And I do want the form to be this joint that I close strong. So I'm going to leave enough room so I can kind of pinch a 1/4 inch of material in there. And I'm going to compress that real well. And now I know I've got a nice strong joint. And this is going to be the knob. So if I want to shape the top of it, I'm going to do it now because all this structure below it is nice and rigid, even though this is soft clay. And I can make a fancy knob right now, at least the top. Later on, when I undercut this knob, and you'll see that, it won't be so rigid and I won't be able to finish the top of my knob. So to make the knob, now we've got air trapped in there, so it's nice and firm, right? And now we kind of got to guess at what our knob's going to look like, and experience counts. And if you're new to it, stretch this out and make this square or more square-ish. So now I know where my knob's going to go. And that's pretty much a straight wall. And then you're going to continue to pull this up and gently work enough clay in here so that I don't overstretch it. And again, this is super soft clay, so I have to be really careful. And I should be able to get this undercut at some point if I have some patience. Now, my fingers are too big for a lot of this, especially if it's soft. And if I want a nice big undercut, or an undercut that's nicer than my finger size, I can take a stick and I can slowly do this and not have a lot of water to it. And so then you build your knob however you like, and you can shape it how you want. The only danger is if you make it too thin, then you'll twist it here. Like I say, this is really soft clay, so I'm gonna be very cautious so I don't embarrass myself on camera. So that's a simple knob. We're actually done with the lid, so if you like it, that's great. That way, I would confirm my final size, and I want to take off just a tad. So perfectly round, right? And now it's exactly the size I want. So this is the WYSIWYG of lids. What you see is what you get. And then I may choose just to roll this edge down a little bit so it's smoother. And of course, ribbon. And you got your choices. There's air trapped in here, so it's pretty easy to ribbon a design. It's nice to rib this all smooth. Anyway, get off this really loose clay, and you can even undercut it so that you give your lid some texture. And it all depends on how soft your rib is, or how soft your clay is, and how much you want to work at this. And then, so again, what you see is what you get. So you're in good order. And then even if you want to apply a pattern of some sort, and this is a little bit too soft to do this, but we're gonna, and you may like concentric circles. That may be your design. So there's a whole bunch of easy things you can do from here. And again, we know what it looks like. It's sized absolutely correctly. So we're really done with the lid. We've dried it off. We cleaned everything up. And we clean up my back, clean up my edges. And I like to take a needle tool and just take about a 1/4 inch undercut there. So later, and this would be tomorrow, I take this bat off, and later I would wire that, and that undercut would make it easy for my wire to go from one side to the other without cutting anything else. For this demonstration, I think I'm going to force dry this a little bit. So hang on, and we'll see what we got in store for you. Don't try this at home. So we're force drying this so I can cut it off and show you. I would normally let this sit for a day or two to dry out. And let's see if we can get this off. Pretty straightforward. It's only 1 pound of clay. We're going to trim all this off later. We'll put it in our pot that we sized it for and trim it upside down. And you can absolutely trim these very, very smoothly. So I know we forced ourselves to take this off in advance, but really simple way to make a big lid and not use a whole bunch of clay. And you can even make lids that are very, very crowned. So this is 551 porcelain. It tends to slump. So when I make lids, if I can make them steeper and integrate this knob into the lid, and when I go to fire it, it's much less likely to slump. So I think maybe we spent 5 minutes on that, 8 minutes tops. So that is the upside right lid, which a lady here actually showed me how to do that, and I've seen it on the internet a couple times, but I rarely see folks use it, and sometimes it's one of the better lids to throw for yourself. It's easier and quicker and all that other good stuff. So that's it for the lids. Keep learning. I hope you enjoyed it.